Assalamu alaikum students. We are going to start reading of lesson 19. Its title is A Revolution in Shipping. Page number 95. From an essay by Lanfellows, Gordon published in 100 Great Events That Changed the World. 98 days it took Ryan round the horn and spark from the funnel set fire more than once to the sails. So it took almost 98 days to complete the round, and a spark from the funnel set fire more than once to the sails, and it was a strange ship. स्ट्रेंज शिप वी कैन से इन द वे दैट उसके जो फनल थे उससे निकलने वाली जो चिंगारियाँ थी उनसे बहुत सारे जो छोटे छोटे आप यूँ समझ लें कि जहाज़ थे उनको उनको भी आग लग गई. ठीक है. अ स्ट्रेंज क्राफ्ट इन फनल ब्लीचिंग स्मोक yet sails stretched tight and bulging up the three cylinders clipper masts. अच्छा, एक तो इसको जो फनल था उससे बहुत ज़्यादा स्मोक निकल रही थी, और इसके जो बादबान थे, इसके जो वो 3 सिलेंडर्स थे वो भी बाहर की तरफ निकले हुए थे, लाइक बल्जिंग अप. The steam engine had come to stay. It was being used increasingly for the propulsion of river and coastal craft, but the smoke and the steam from the pride of the Albion Line, soon to be Shaw Savile Line, the clipper ship Dundon, served a different purpose altogether. Right? So propulsion is basically called the action of driving or pushing forward. Here is the word. So जो उसका जो इंजन था वो ऐसा था कि जिसको दरियाओं और समंदरों में चलने वाले जहाज़ों में इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा था, लेकिन जो अल्बीन लाइन जो बहुत जल्द शाह सवाइल लाइन बनने वाली थी उसके जितने भी जो वो आप यूँ समझ लें कि वो वाले शिप्स जो बहुत सारा बर्डन लेके जाते हैं उनसे निकलने वाला जो धुआं है, जो स्मोक है और जो स्टीम है, both were you can say that working differently. दोनों का जो पर्पस था वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट था. It was initiating a revolution in shipping and at the same time a revolution in the economy of those countries the shipping served. So we can say that was starting a revolution in the field of shipping, and it was also about to brought the revolution in the economy of that countries where mostly shipping is used for trade, we can say. For this sleek vessel of 1300 tons was the first on the all important New Zealand run to be fitted with the new Bell Coleman refrigerating machine. Right? So ये जो 1300 टन वेट था इसका जो बहुत ही वी कैन से दैट अ स्मॉल शिप जो सबसे वेरी फर्स्ट शिप भी था वो जब न्यूजीलैंड की तरफ वो गया तो उस पर क्या इंस्टॉलेशन की गई, उसमें एक न्यू बेल कॉल्बिन का रेफ्रिजरेटर जो है वो इंस्टॉल किया गया. It was this ungainly yet remarkably efficient apparatus, still in its teething stage, which required a funnel and steam to operate it while the ship moved serenely on, driven only by sail. वैसे तो ये काम बहुत ही we can say that was unusual, but it was very effective, it was very efficient machine that was on his initial stage, and what was needed to run it, the funnel and the steam to operate it, right? With the help of these things, the ship was going forward on its way very peacefully. 98 days from the morning in February 1882, when she left her New Zealand dock, the Dunedin docked at London. The news had preceded her, and as soon as the unfamiliar silhouette was sighted coming up the Thames, a crowd ran on ahead to watch this incredible cargo unloaded. In February 1882, the port of New Zealand was the starting point of that travel. The ship Dunedin reached in London, but the news of arrival of this ship was already reached there. And when this unusual ship was about to reach to the Thames River, the people were so surprised. For in her holds, the Dunedin held 5,000 frozen carcasses of lambs. And people were so surprised to see that much luggage which was loaded on that ship, and that were round about 5,000 lambs, slaughtered lambs. Surely, man said, it would be, if not completely rotten, at least so poorly flavored after its long confinement that only a beggar of the street would deign to try it. So, the lambs which were loaded on that ship, almost people's opinion was that they would be rotten and they would not be able to eat, and if they are able to eat, their flavor would must be changed. And because of that bad taste, only the beggars in the street can eat that meat, no one else. But they were wrong. लेकिन लोगों का जो आइडिया जो है था वो बिल्कुल गलत था. ओके, ये जो फर्स्ट शिप था, that was an experience of refrigerating the things to send them to the other countries. So in that ship जो 5,000 लैम्स हैं ज़िबाशुदा, वो इसमें लोड की गई थी, और उनके बारे में एक जनरल ओपिनियन ये था कि पहली तो बात है कि ये गल सड़ जाएंगी इतने लॉन्ग ट्रैवल पे. अगर गली सड़ी ना भी तो इतनी देर तक एक जगह पे कन्फाइंड रहने से, बंद रहने से, इस गोश्त का जायका बहुत ख़राब हो जाएगा और इसको कोई नॉर्मल ह्यूमन बीइंग खाना पसंद नहीं करेगा. लेकिन ये बात इतनी ही रॉन्ग थी. द मीट वॉज एज फ्रेश एज द डे इट हैड बीन स्लॉटर्ड. लेकिन वो मीट इतना फ्रेश था जितना कि ताज़ा ज़िबाशुदा गोश्त होता है. ओनली वन ऑफ द कार्कसेस वाज डैमेज. सिर्फ एक जो ज़िबाशुदा भेड़ थी, लैम्ब जो थी, उसको नुकसान पहुंचा था. हैड टू बी कंडेम्ड, और उसको वेस्ट कर दिया गया. द रेस्ट वर प्लम फ्रेश सक्युलेंट एंड दे सोल्ड रैपिडली. और बाकी सब बिल्कुल कम्प्लीटली फ्रेश थी, सॉफ्ट थी, और उनको लोगों ने बहुत ही तेज़ी से ख़रीद लिया. फॉर 6 pence, half penny a pound, 454 grams, of which 2 pence 3 farthings was the cost of freighting from New Zealand, a freight charge which has hardly altered, though the price of meat has So the price brought a respectable profit to the New Zealand farmer, a profit which would and now be multiplied as the new refrigerating vessels were made ready. So almost 6 pence and half penny fee pound was their cost, and from that amount 2 pennies and 3 farthing was the expense of that meat to brought there. So we were here. The price brought a respectable profit to the New Zealand farmer. जो न्यूजीलैंड के फार्मर्स जो थे उनको तो इससे बहुत ज़्यादा बेनिफिट हुआ, and this benefit could be much more increased because like that refrigerating vessels were made ready, क्योंकि इस तरह के बहुत सारे रेफ्रिजरेटर वाले शिप्स और भी रेडी किए गए, because this was very beneficial way of bringing things like meat very safely and in the same taste, right? So we are here, a new industry had been born. एक न्यू इंडस्ट्री जो है वो आ चुकी थी मार्केट में, आप यूँ समझ लें. The refrigerating ships would not only bring great prosperity to New Zealand first class meat at a reasonable price to England, but they would solve a major problem, that of disposing of the sheep, for they bred rapidly and there were not enough mouths in all the southern colony to eat them. Sheep were being slaughtered, their carcass flung into the sea to get them out of the way. So it was the best way to bring the prosperity not only for the New Zealand, but it was an opportunity to send a very good kind of meat to England from the New Zealand, right? तो उनका जो एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम है ये भी सॉल्व हो गया था कि जो शीप्स थी उनकी बहुत ज़्यादा, जैसे वहाँ पे उनकी बहुत बहुत एक देवर इन वेरी ग्रेट इन नंबर्स, और उनको यूज़ करने वाले, उनको खाने वाले लोग बहुत कम थे. तो अब ये एक बेस्ट वे था इन लैम्स के मीट को यूज़ करने का कि उनको ज़िबा किया जाता था पहले, इससे पहले, और उनकी लाशों को समंदर में फेंक दिया जाता था. इसके अलावा इन्हें इनकी इनकी फुल जो जैसे अलाइव इनको भेजा जाता था किसी और कंट्री में. लेकिन इस तरह रेफ्रिजरेटिंग शिप्स की हेल्प से जो शिप्स थी इनका मीट एज इट इज़ इन द वेरी फाइन क्वालिटी दूसरे कंट्रीज़ में, स्पेशली टू द इंग्लैंड, वेरी इजीली भेजा जा सकता था. अपार्ट फ्रॉम शिपिंग, नेक्स्ट पेज, them alive to Britain, which was observed there was little that could done with them when their fleas had been shorn. Okay. So एक तो पहले तो इनको ज़िंदा भेजा जाता था, और इनका जो इनकी जो जो शीप्स की जो वो होती है, इनके ऊपर क्या उसको कहते हैं, जो उनकी ऊन होती है, जो फ्लीस होती है, उसका भी कोई यूजेज नहीं था. लेकिन इस तरह से मीट की फॉर्म में भेजने से इनके जो फ्लीस थी उसको भी प्रॉपर यूज़ किया गया और मीट को भी प्रॉपर स्टोर किया गया और सोल्ड आउट किया गया. बट रेफ्रिजरेटिंग चेंज ऑल दैट, लेकिन जो रेफ्रिजरेटिंग थी इसने सब इश्यूज़ को रिजॉल्व कर दिया, सब चीज़ें चेंज हो गई. मीट कुड बी फ्रोजन इमीडिएटली after slaughter, loaded on board a suitably equipped vessel and kept at a temperature below freezing point till it was unloaded in England. There was no decay, no loss of flavor. So now it was the best way to refrigerate that meat and to send it in a very suitable way, loaded on the ship, and two sent to the England on a very, you can say, low temperature, and in that way their taste was also good. Their taste was as it is fresh. The discovery completely altered the New Zealand economy, gave a prosperity which few could have dreamed of, which has been maintained to this day since the first trip in 1882. So, this invention brought a great change in the economy of the New Zealand. No one has ever dreamed of that much prosperity, which is still there in New Zealand today. There are 20 ships in New Zealand for each citizen, but today there is no question of hurling them into the sea. They are frozen and shipped all over the world. Today, every citizen of New Zealand is having almost 20 ships, but there is no way, no option to cut them and to throw in the sea, because they are used to send all over the world with the refrigerating method. The Bell-Colvin refrigerator was not the first to be invented, and the Dunedin was not quite the first ship to be fitted with one, but because of the enormous length of journey the huge part refrigerator ships were to play in the economy of New Zealand, this first voyage was a development of great significance. So, Bell-Coleman refrigerator was not very first invention, and the Dunedin ship was not that very first ship, but the greatness of that all event, or that all change, is the length of that travel and the role of that refrigerator ships which they played in the economy of the New Zealand. So this journey was very much important from the development point of view. Hope students you have understand all the lesson. In the next lecture we will complete its exercise. Thank you so much.